everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca. I'm an animal communicator and spiritual medium. Working with spirit is always interesting and quite often quite funny, to say the least. Spirit have very interesting ways of getting your attention. And yesterday was one of those moments where completely unexpectedly I had a visit from an animal energy in the spirit world, which it just made me laugh so much because it was so unexpected. So I was in the middle of hanging up some laundry, and all of a sudden I hear really loudly "sea cucumber" right in my ear, and this massive brown sea cucumber, like a spirit sea cucumber, was like gliding along past me. It was just really funny because it's not an animal I've ever considered speaking to, but by now, with the work that I do, quite often I realise that, especially with the wild animals, they pick me, I don't pick them, and it was just hilarious. It just made me laugh so much just to hear it shouted out so loudly to me, "Sea cucumber!" So I had a little look because I know of sea cucumbers, but I don't really know anything about sea cucumbers. And so I thought, well, this is obviously, there's a reason that they are coming forward and letting me know about them. And I didn't realise quite how many different varieties there were. I've got some notes here because I literally went into this blind. I knew nothing about them at all. And quite interestingly, it says that there are around 1,200 known species of sea cucumber, and they normally either live on the ocean floor or very close to the ocean floor, and they're found in all oceans all over the world. They can live for around 5 to 10 years, and some species can actually grow up to 10 feet long, which is quite impressive. I thought that they were all kind of a couple of feet long. I didn't realise quite how big they were. So that in itself is quite interesting to know that there are so many different species of them. But the reason that they are coming forward is there are two reasons. So the first reason is the way in which they feed and what they feed on. And they eat a lot of organic matter and algae and waste products. And one of the reasons that they are coming forward now is relating to recently there was a collision with two ships in the ocean. And they are coming forward to say that actually they are part of the cleanup crew. They're not the only cleanup crew, but they are cleanup crew. And what they're working to do is to move some of this waste material. They are able to deal with some of this waste material and actually filter it back through, filter it out and make it less harmful so that it's not so damaging to the ecosystem in the oceans. So I found that really interesting. And as soon as they kind of showed me what they do and how they're helping, and I was like, oh, it makes perfect sense why you've come about now because of this event that recently happened. The other thing as well that it says about them, they have no eyes and they have no brain. And again, if you followed my work for a while, you will know that animals are they don't judge, they're very accepting, and they're always very surprised at us for thinking that they're at a disadvantage in some way, because they're not. They're so well adapted and they embrace life with such joy, probably more joy than I've ever seen in any human. Animals are just so happy to be here and experiencing all that life has to offer. And they were showing me as I was kind of reading about it, and like, oh, they don't have eyes, they don't have a brain. And I was thinking more along the lines of jellyfish, which are considered a collection of organisms. And they just said to me, well, we don't need it, because why would we need to see? We're feeling, we're using our energy, we're feeling and navigating this seabed. And they were showing me that they actually have an awareness of their auric energetic field, if you like. So where many humans aren't aware of our auric field, they are very much aware, and they use it almost like a sensor mechanism, just as a snake would go along tasting the air with its tongue, and it's kind of using that as like a sensory system. sea cucumbers are doing the same thing. They're moving along the ocean floor and they're very aware of their energetic field, and they can feel when it's bumping up against things. They can feel when there's food. So I found that really fascinating because, again, it's not something I had thought of. And they're just trying to remind us, again, they're saying you need to be more aware of your energy. If you're aware of your energy, you can navigate the world. And I do know that animals get quite frustrated with us because they do have challenges, and they are navigating life in a way, you know, similar to us. They have a soul contract and they have to encounter things that help them to grow and to learn. But they get quite frustrated with us because we're not great at learning. We seem to repeat the same mistakes over and over again, and also because we overcomplicate things all the time, especially with wild animals. When they're speaking to me, they're always saying, you know, we make such a complicated thing out of living, and it really isn't that difficult. So they're encouraging us to work more using all of our senses as a whole, as a collection, a bit like the jellyfish, as a collection of organisms and cells, to actually be more aware of our own energy and the energy that we're putting out into the universe, and to kind of to trust in ourselves a bit more, trust in what we're feeling. Don't always go by, you know, the senses that you would normally rely on. So if you see something, not that you should always distrust your eyes, but if you're seeing something, then use that extra layer of feeling and senses. How does it make me feel when I see this? They want us to kind of use all of our senses, because they're saying that where to them it's very natural that they're using all of their senses all at once, we're not doing that, and we are missing out quite a lot. But also it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I did an Instagram post the other week when I'd had some issues with some debris in my eye that I had to have taken out, and I had to wear an eye covering, and it really made me realise how difficult it was when you have one of those senses taken away, albeit permanently or for a short space of time. It makes you utilise the other senses. So what they're saying is, seize that opportunity now, while everything you have all of those senses. Seize the opportunity to get them all working together, because even though we are, we're one body and we have all of these things, quite often we're not working together in our own body, if that makes sense. We need to look more at ourselves or as a whole. Like with a machine, if one part needs maintenance and isn't working properly, the rest of the machine doesn't work properly. And that's the same with us. We need to be fully aware of all of the moving, working parts of ourselves. We need to make sure that good things are going in, so nutritious food, we're getting exercise to keep our minds and our bodies really healthy, and just kind of looking at ourselves more as a whole than thinking of ourselves in separating out the parts of ourselves. So I just thought that was beautiful that they've come around at this time, not only to let us know that they are working to help to heal the planet and assist with the cleanup efforts of the issue that happened recently, but they are also just reminding us how we can navigate things, getting more deeply connected to ourselves and all of our senses. And I thought I'd just read to you some of the interesting facts about them, because I was really fascinated. There's a lot more to these sea cucumbers than meets the eye. So let's have a look. They're called sea cucumbers. I guess here in the UK, cucumbers are a little bit different. I would think of them more as what we call a gherkin. I think maybe in America you still call those cucumbers. I'm not entirely sure, but gherkins they look like small cucumbers, but they're very knobbly and bumpy. And sea cucumbers look like that. They have very bumpy bodies, but they come in a whole variety of different colours. They come in brown, red, orange, yellow, white, blue, or even some of them are patterned. And the one that I saw was slightly patterned. It was brown, but it had some slight mottling effect on it as well. 10 of the species are known to be bioluminescent, and scientists believe that 200 more species may actually be able to emit light. So again, for these times upon the Earth, they're bringing light into the Earth quite literally. So that is, again, very beautiful. I really like that. I just feel like a really happy, joyful energy with ththese creatures. They're quite slow. They move quite slowly and gracefully. It is like, I feel like I'm hearing like them humming along as they're moving about. It's like la 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 la. They're just happy. They're just having this like relaxing time where they're going about life, and they're just fully aware of everything down there. And they do feel like, you know, they have a job to do as well. They're quite aware of their importance within the ecosystem of the ocean. So I think that's really lovely as well. Yeah, it says about their tiny tube feet that have the suckers on the end. It allows them to move, anchor themselves, or hold on to prey. If they need to, they can pick up pace. They can flood themselves with water to become more buoyant and float away on the ocean's currents at speeds of up to 56 miles per day. Lots of little modified tube feet tentacles that surround their mouths as well. They have between 8 and 30, and they break the particles down into even smaller pieces. With these tube feet that they have, they wait until things get stuck on them, and then they move it up to their mouth to eat. So they do have a mouth as well, but they are using their feet for feeding. So they're not actually eating through their feet. They're using them more as a catching device, which is really interesting. It says they clean the sand, they filter the water, they recycle nutrients. They're a lot like earthworms on the land. And they play a really important part in keeping the ecosystem healthy, which prevents algal blooms and reduces ocean acidification. So they are a huge part of keeping the oceans balanced and well. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they made themselves known. But anytime an animal comes forward, or anytime any spirit comes forward to make themselves known, they always have something interesting to say, and they always have an important message that fits in somehow with the things that are going on in humanity. So let me know in the comments if you have ever encountered sea cucumbers, or if you knew anything about them, you found this quite surprising. Or I know some people can be a little grossed out by them. They do have a mechanism, a defense mechanism, where they can shoot out, a bit like Spider-Man, they can shoot out these kind of like long stringy things that can give them time to get away by kind of covering the predators, so that they have time to swim away. But yeah, do let me know. I hope you found this interesting. I was quite surprised, and I just keep laughing to myself every time I keep thinking about this, because it was just hilarious to have it suddenly yelled in my ear, and to see this spiritual energy of a sea cucumber just swimming past my face. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care.